Welcome to the deep dive. Our mission, as always, is to take the most challenging source material you send our way and, well, make sense of it, distill it down into something genuinely useful.
And today, we're definitely tackling a challenging one. It's a story that, honestly, if it's true, it changes pretty much everything.
We're looking at the claims of Dr. Jonathan Reed. He's got a PhD in developmental research psychology, and this all stems from an encounter back in 1996 near Seattle. It's documented in the book An Extraterrestrial Odyssey.
Yeah, and what really grabs you about this one is we're not just talking about, fuzzy lights in the sky. The sources focus right on the moment Dr. Reed apparently got his hands on actual physical proof, undeniable proof of intelligent ET life.
And the fallout from that, the personal cost, the societal disruption.
Exactly. So the big question we're exploring for you listening is really, what's the price of knowing something absolutely world-shattering? What's the cost of that kind of truth?
So let's paint the picture. It's October 1996. Dr. Reed's out hiking. He's got his dog Susie with him.
A pretty normal day, until it wasn't.
Right. There's an encounter. We don't need all the blow-by-blow. But the awful result is that his dog, Susie, is killed.
And in the shock and aftermath of that, he discovers, well, first, a creature, which he ends up killing.
And also this floating black thing. He calls it the Obelisk.
And that's where things get really, really strange, especially the timeline. So he finds this being, this dead creature. The sources are very specific about how it looked.
What do they say?
Kind of pinkish blue skin. The texture was apparently like a pig's, big oblong eyes, a small mouth like a fish, no nose, no hair. Just alien.
And the clothing. That sounds almost as strange as the creature itself.
Oh, yeah. It was wearing this dark gray, maybe black suit.
Yeah.
Seamless, like a second skin, apparently.
So Reed, completely reeling, I imagine, wraps this thing up in a thermal blanket.
The book actually calls it a large silvery gold burrito, which is quite an image.
It really is. And he manages to get this burrito into his Jeep.
But finding an alien body, that's one thing. The effect it had on him physically, that's another layer.
What kind of effects?
Well, the sources list things like a numb hand, feeling really dizzy, intense nausea, like physically debilitating symptoms.
Okay, that's rough. But you mentioned the timeline fracturing.
Yes, the temporal anomaly. This is maybe the weirdest part.
Go on.
Reed looked back at everything he'd done, the hike, the incident with Susie, finding the creature, killing it, wrapping it up, getting it to the Jeep. He figured, okay, that must have taken, 3, maybe 4 hours? Seems reasonable.
Okay, yeah, that sounds about right.
But then he gets in the Jeep. He knows the clock stopped at 2:55 p.m., right when Susie died. He looks at it, and it reads 4:21 p.m.
Great, so only about an hour and a half passed, instead of 3 or 4.
Exactly. Like nearly 3 hours of his experience time, his actions just vanished, evaporated from the clock's perspective.
Wow, that suggests what? Something was messing with time itself.
That's the implication. And remember the obelisk, that floating black mystery back at the site.
Yeah, the thing he felt was vibrating.
Right. Reed sensed it vibrating. And the source uses this really odd phrase that it was maybe groping in his gray matter.
Groping in his gray matter? What does that even mean?
It sounds like more than just a headache, doesn't it? It sounds like active interference, like the obelisk was interacting with his mind, maybe pulling information. Or maybe that interaction itself warped his perception of time.
So the object, the anomaly, might have been directly responsible for that lost time.
It's a strong possibility suggested by the account.
Yeah.
So, okay, he somehow drives home with this creature in a blanket. He needs help. He needs someone to see this.
Who does he turn to?
Primarily 2 people, initially. Robert Raith, who eventually wrote the book, LNK, and his best friend, a guy named Gary, who was an architectural designer.
And how did they react? I mean, what would you even say? Hey, got an alien in my freezer.
Pretty much. And their reactions were totally different. Gary was apparently filled with unbridled anticipation and hope. Like this was it. Proof. The big moment for humanity.
Okay, so he was excited.
Totally. But then there was Dr. Reed's girlfriend at the time, Anne. She was not excited. Her first thought was their careers, reputations. She basically saw disaster looming and wanted the evidence gone. Like, now.
So right away you see that conflict, the desire for truth versus the instinct for self-preservation.
Absolutely. It's the core tension of the whole story.
Yeah.
So Gary, in his excitement, apparently gives the creature a nickname.
Which was?
Freezer Freddie. Because, yeah, Reed put it in his garage freezer for safekeeping or, containment.
Freezer Freddie. Okay. So did they examine it? What did they find?
They did an initial sort of topical examination. Freddie was about 53 inches tall, so, not tiny. Estimated weight around 50, maybe 60 pounds.
And the head.
Skull size was comparable to a human's, roughly. But where her nose would be, there's just this flat ridge of solid bone. No nose. Just two little slits, nasal slits.
Wow. And the mouth.
Tiny, like 1.5 inches wide. Fish-like, the source says. But it had small, needle-sharp teeth inside.
Any other notable features? Or lack thereof?
Yeah, the source specifically notes no external genitalia. No belly button, no other openings, really. The hands had 4 fingers and a thumb, like us. But they were inside these gloves, 3-fingered gloves, made of that same weird, seamless suit material.
Okay, the creature itself is obviously bizarre, but that suit, you mentioned it was strange.
Right. This is where it gets into really high-tech territory. Reed, being a researcher, even if not a material scientist, decided to test it. He took an X-Acto knife.
And just cut it.
Tried to. He made an incision in the suit material. And the source says the material instantly sealed itself back up. He timed it. 27 seconds for the cut to completely vanish. Self-reconstruction.
27 seconds? That's impossible.
Seems like it. But then it got even weirder. He tried again, made another cut. This time he tried to pull the cut edges apart.
Ooh.
The suit material bonded to the blade, like grabbed onto the knife, wouldn't let go easily. When he finally pulled the blade away, the material just reformed again, instantly.
So what did Reed think it was? How could it do that?
Well, his background was psychology, not material science, right? So he's observing, hypothesizing. He wondered if it was some kind of incredibly advanced chemical compound, maybe like a zeolite catalyst, something that could trigger rapid, complex chemical restructuring to repair itself.
Okay, that's one theory, a very advanced one.
The other theory was, well, much more disturbing. He wondered if the suit wasn't a material at all, but maybe a living tissue, something that could learn and react to damage.
A living suit. Okay, that's the next level.
Yeah, and just as they're trying to wrap their heads around that, around sentient clothing, things take another sharp turn.
How so?
Freezer Freddie wasn't quite as frozen or as dead as they thought.
Wait, it was alive. In the freezer.
Not exactly alive and kicking, but they noticed this low buzzing sound coming from it. It seemed like he was in some kind of hibernation or maybe stasis. And then suddenly, it wasn't.
What happened?
It resurrected, as the source puts it. Started screaming, apparently trying to grab the freezer door from the inside.
Oh my God. So now it's not just evidence. It's a potentially hostile alien entity in his garage.
Exactly. The whole situation shifted dramatically. And later, Reed claimed he started to form some kind of telepathic link with it. He felt like Freddie was studying him.
So the tables turned. He went from observer to observed.
Precisely. And right around then, maybe unsurprisingly, the outside pressure started. The harassment began.
What kind of harassment?
Black vans started showing up, following Reed, following Gary. One van was described specifically gray satellite dish on top, lots of antennas, very conspicuous surveillance.
Sounds classic.
And the phone lines, constant clicking sounds whenever they talked. They were pretty sure they were being tapped almost immediately.
Were there direct warnings too? Or just spooky vans?
There were warnings. A colleague of Reed's, Professor Moore, tried to give him a heads up, but he spoke in code, talking about a near-fatal skiing trip he'd supposedly had. The message was clear, though. Back off. Drop this. It's dangerous.
But Reed didn't back off.
No. And that's when the real heavy hitters showed up, what the source calls the school. Or sometimes the dark side, the shadow behind the shadow.
School. Who were they?
According to the book, these were Scienza operatives. Specific names even. Garcia, Hobart, Anderson. And they weren't guessing. They knew everything.
Everything? Like what?
They knew about Freddie in the freezer. They knew about the obelisk. They knew about the phone taps. They even knew Reed had managed to get a small blood sample from his dog, Susie, before. Well before.
Wow. But they weren't there to ask questions.
Not at all. They were there to deliver the final threat. They told Reed, basically, that his entire life, his PhD, his job, his credentials, his identity, could be and would be erased. Just gone, wiped from all records.
They could just do that.
They claimed they could. Total information control. Make him a non-person if he didn't hand everything over and shut up.
And he refused.
He refused. And the consequences were immediate and brutal. His university office, cleared out overnight, completely empty. His name, and the name of another colleague, Nathan Brooks, who might have been involved or known something, gone from the university directories. Poof.
His entire professional existence just deleted.
Systematically wiped. But it didn't stop there. It wasn't just his career. His home life was destroyed too.
What happened to his house?
Later on, it was found completely trashed. Decimated, the source says. Furniture shredded, holes punched in walls. Total violation.
And the freezer. Freddie. The obelisk.
Gone. Vanished from the garage. The only things left were these weird melted footprints on the concrete floor where the freezer used to be.
So they took the evidence and destroyed his life as punishment for finding it.
That's the claim. His life was ruined because he chose to pursue this truth instead of letting them bury it.
So, okay. Your identity is erased. Your home is destroyed. The proof is gone. Where do you even go from there? What does someone like Reed do?
Well, according to the narrative, he was essentially forced underground. And that's when he apparently connected with this group called the Alliance.
The Alliance? What's that?
Described as a kind of underground resistance, a network that had supposedly been around for over 75 years, dedicated to exposing truths that powerful, shadowy groups, sub-governments, Reed called them, want kept hidden.
So a secret network fighting secret government groups?
Pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
For Reed, finding the Alliance was maybe the only way to survive. To get some context for what had happened to him, they basically said, yeah, we know about this kind of suppression. It happens.
And did the Alliance share information with him about why this might have happened?
Oh, yeah. And this is where Reed's personal encounter connects to some absolutely massive global-level conspiracy claims. Stuff that makes Freezer Freddie seem almost local.
Like what kind of claims?
Really staggering stuff. For instance, the Alliance apparently told him that humans, well, we might actually be descendants of human-like beings who came here from Mars millions of years ago after some catastrophe there.
Humans from Mars? Okay. What else?
That NASA and the Russian space program know full well there are intelligent structures, buildings on the moon. Evidence they've kept hidden for decades.
Structures on the moon? Wow. Anything else? These are huge claims.
They get bigger. The Alliance apparently claimed the AIDS virus wasn't natural, that it was man-made, maybe reverse-engineered from alien biological tech, and that a cure exists but is being suppressed for control.
A man-made AIDS virus with a hidden cure? That's incredibly dark.
And they also mentioned weather control. Said technology like HAARP, that's the High-Frequency Active Auroral Research Program up in Alaska, has been operational for maybe 15 years, capable of manipulating weather patterns, and that the Russians might have even reverse-engineered some of it first.
Okay, just to be really clear, these are the claims reported in the source material coming from this Alliance group, right? We're relaying what Reed says he was told.
Absolutely. This is the narrative framework that the Alliance provided to explain the extreme reaction to Reed's discovery. But what adds a layer of, let's say, intrigue to all this is the scientific data that supposedly came out later.
Right, you mentioned updates. There was tissue analysis from samples Reed saved.
Exactly. In 2013, information was released, supposedly based on analysis of tissue and blood samples. Reed managed to keep hidden before everything went sideways.
And what did that analysis show?
This is pretty crucial. It apparently confirmed Freddie had 46 chromosomes.
46. Like humans.
Just like humans. That alone is huge, suggesting some kind of deep genetic link, right? But here's the kicker. Of those 46 chromosomes, 9 pairs weren't like human chromosomes. They were genetically similar only to chromosomes found in certain sea turtles and dolphins.
Wait, sea turtles and dolphins? What does that mean?
It means, according to the Alliance's interpretation, that Freddie wasn't just an alien from some random planet. It suggests the creature was genetically engineered, using human DNA as a base, but then incorporating genetic material from Earth mammals, specifically marine mammals.
Engineered. Using human and Earth animal DNA. That implies.
It implies a level of genetic manipulation far beyond what we can do publicly. And it connects these visitors directly to Earth's own biology, our own evolutionary history, in a very direct, engineered way.
So if that's true, the suppression wasn't just about hiding an alien. It was about hiding this specific kind of alien, one that fundamentally challenges our own origins and place here.
That's the core argument. The evidence wasn't just E.T. exists, it was E.T. is deeply genetically intertwined with Earth life, possibly through deliberate engineering. That's a truth with much bigger, more dangerous implications.
And despite all this, the detailed story, the alleged photos and video Reed had, the fact that he apparently passed a polygraph test about his core experience, the mainstream media largely stayed away.
The source definitely complains about that, calls it a consistent hands-off attitude from professional news outlets, even with the evidence Reed presented.
And Reed himself seems to have prioritized getting the story out over personal gain, right? Didn't he turn down money for the video?
Yeah, that's a significant point in the narrative. He was apparently offered $1.5 million by some wealthy individual for the video footage he had.
$1.5 million after losing everything. That must have been tempting.
You'd think so. But he refused. He stated publicly he was afraid if he sold it, it would just disappear into a private collection and be buried forever. He wanted it out there, for the public, even if it meant staying broke and underground.
So bringing this all together for you, the listener, what are we left with? You have this account of verifiable physical proof, a body, an artifact, bizarre physical effects, genetic data later on.
And running parallel to that, you have this account of equally verifiable destruction. A life systematically dismantled, credentials erased, identity attacked, home destroyed, evidence confiscated by a shadowy force Reed calls a sub-government.
He paid the ultimate price for refusing to let them bury what he found.
Literally everything. His career, his home, his name, his safety. So connecting that price to the bigger picture the Alliance painted, the source leaves us staring at a really unsettling possibility.
Which is?
That maybe our whole understanding of human history, our origins, is, as the book puts it, an empty fabrication. A story crafted for control.
And if that's the case...
And Freezer Freddie wasn't just some random visitor. It was evidence, potentially, that we are, in some fundamental way, as alien to this planet Earth as beings from outer space. That our roots might lie elsewhere, or be intertwined with off-world engineering.
Which leaves us with a final thought to chew on. If the goal of the school, this suppression machine, wasn't just grabbing an alien body, but specifically hiding genetic evidence linking advanced ET engineering to Earth's own deep past, then who or what is that suppression really protecting?
And what if the real threat, the real control system Dr. Reed ran up against, isn't necessarily invaders from the stars, but, as he concluded, something from and within our own camp? A power structure here on Earth working tirelessly to keep the rest of us believing a simpler, safer, but maybe entirely false story about who we are.